is a mode that splits opinion about 40-60. 40% love it and understand it pretty well. The rest of us, however, are truly stumped by this new mode introduced in Season 11, and some have gone as far as saying it's a waste of time and the worst mode ever. A lot of this is over-exaggerated, of course, as is most of the internet's way of describing new things. It's either the best thing they've ever seen or it's trash. But at its core, Boom is very different to what SuperCard players have been used to for over 10 years, because it's not primarily now about how good or bad your cards are, but what you do with them that makes Boom make or break. So today I'm going to explain Boom and break down how it works, how you can master it, and how to build that win streak to get the best rewards possible each and every day. Before we get started though, if this guide goes on to help you in any way, shape or form, please hit that thumbs up button. Or if you're a regular to the channel, just go and give it a like or a slap for me, please. Thanks. And to see more guides like this, drop an elbow on that subscribe button. I'd also love to know in the comment section down below how you've done with Boom so far, especially what's your best streak with the mode. Maybe even do a before and after, what you've done before and what you've done after seeing this guide. I just pray I see no one who's gone backwards. Now we're going to split the guide into two sections, basic and advanced. If you're a veteran of this type of mode, or maybe you just kind of got it already, then feel free to skip ahead to the next section on the video timeline. So here's the basics. Boom is an always-on survivor-like mode, meaning it won't appear and disappear like a tag team takedown, tables, ladders and chairs, etc. The rewards refresh every 24 hours, meaning that if you can master the mode, you can get all 11 streak rewards once per day. You can also play endlessly as well, using credits or ads to build up the other two sets of rewards, but the main rewards will only drop once. The entire set of rewards are broken into three sections: streaks, leaderboards, and records. Streaks are, well, the longer you hold the win streak, the better your rewards. Nice, simple. Leaderboard rewards, however, are based on your total point score, much like ranked events, but over an extended period of time. Those rewards include cards, credits, card backs, and more. Record rewards are something that randomly drops whenever a player obtains a record of either win streaks or single game point totals, and these are randomly sent to inboxes as and when it happens. Boom is not meant to be easily completed. It will take time for you to build the right deck, cards, and tactics to reach the highest rewards daily. So let me manage your expectations right now. Unless you're in the top or second from top rarity, which right now are Legion and Feral, don't expect to finish the mode. I'm just being honest with you. To quote another guide from an awesome YouTuber by the name of Sunnyside, I'll link his details in the description down below. This is almost like a daily campaign mode, and the final set of matches will be too powerful for most to handle. Heck, even some Legion players struggle without knowing how to get the most out of their decks. When you start a game, you'll be introduced to a board of tiles and 3 lanes. Each of those 3 lanes has a points total, with both you and your opponent starting with 3 tiles, 1 in each lane. Your tiles are a turquoise blue color and your opponents will be red. You'll each take turns to place cards within the available play tiles, with your goal to end the match in one of 2 ways. The first is getting a higher point total in at least 2 lanes by controlling as much territory with as many cards as possible. Or secondly, forcing your opponents into submission or forfeit by taking all of their available tiles. But my number 1 rule of Boom is to ignore the superstars and focus on shutting the board down, giving yourself as many tiles to play with as possible. Sometimes this means taking out your own cards with something called Boom abilities. This is much easier than trying to outplay the AI and take down individual superstars, but we'll cover tactics later on in the advanced section. Every time you take a tile, your point total in that lane will increase by the power number on your superstar. Power on each superstar is based on the overall strength of each individual card. This is dependent on tier, on if the cards are fully trained, are singles or pros, have had match training or variant training, are in momentum slots, or have equipment attached. If you're winning or in control of a lane, meaning your points are higher than your opponent's, those points will be added to your total on the left hand side. If you're not in control of your lane, the points won't be added to your overall total. Now, this is an important note. If you're concerned about points and you want to build them up for the leaderboard, never accept an offer of forfeit by your opponent. You can almost always add to the point total you have in those situations. But if you're like me and this doesn't bother you at all and you're more concerned winning matches in the 11th street to get those rewards, go ahead. Personally, I think that's the easiest way to play this mode. Initially, you have access to 4 of your cards randomly selected to place onto the game board. When looking at your options, you may notice each card has a small 3x3 squares board underneath. This is called the area of effect, or AoE, if you're common with these kind of game modes or those terms, and is the tile pattern that your card will capture when it's placed on the board. In the middle of the 3x3 is a black square, and this is where your card would be positioned within that AoE, again, area of effect, when it's placed on the board. As you'll see in this gameplay, I'm about to play this Eddie Guerrero, which is in like a plus or a cross shape. When I place it on the board of my available tiles, that crossed pattern will show up on the board, but you can only place the black part on an available tile, with me having access to the 3 starter tiles. That's opened the opportunity for me to now use other options, and I almost always start in the middle. Starting anywhere else, unless you've got, for example, this Gunter, which has the AoE of the right hand side, you could necessarily say start on the left and then move to the right hand side if you're maybe lacking options. Or maybe you'd have this Bron Breaker, which is a forward pushing, maybe an aggressive move. And as you can see there, the black marker goes on the available tile. Then you'd use that to push ahead into the next set of tiles that you've just captured. Capturing an empty or unoccupied tile within your area of effect during your turn will change it to your color blue. Each card also has either a negative effect or a positive effect. These are beneath the 3x3 and act to improve the strength of your cards already on the board or reduce your opponent's power, with the potential to completely destroy their cards. But be wary to read whether the negative effects only affect enemy cards or all cards, like I got with this Bron Breaker, as an all effect is about to take out this Bron Breaker, which is on my own side. And whilst it gives me more tiles, it really reduces my options. We've reduced this map down to 3 red tiles, which means we're only a couple of seconds away from absolutely destroying this opponent. And whilst he has taken out one of my cards, I can easily shut him down with this Macho Man Randy Savage. All I have to do now is get the allotted points on the board to claim those 2 lanes, and it will say I surrender, accept the surrender or the forfeit, and then boom, you've just won your first game. So now you've got the basics. Let's move on to the more advanced and technical side of boom. This starts with abilities. Now remember I said cards could either strengthen your own cards or reduce the power of your enemies? Well, those are those boom abilities, and that's where the collection side of boom comes into play. The general rule to these abilities, without going through the complexities that you're seeing on screen, is that any up arrow or down arrow gives you a boost in stats to any cards that are on the board, and any left or right arrows will reduce the power of your opponent. These effects will of course only take place within the area of effect that's been played. So if my Kofi Kingston, who's a left arrow, has 174 power, it would reduce any enemy card within its area of effect by 174, as that's the total amount of health, and it reduces it by 100%. But if it were an up arrow or down arrow, it would boost any of the cards on my board that its AoE touched within that same area by 44 points. Now, unfortunately, I thought of this myself. Changing the arrow with equipment doesn't alter the base ability of each card, which would add another layer of strategy, but maybe we'll come to that in the future. However, as you may have noticed, there are some cards not like the others, with special abilities. It's not currently confirmed whether these will change over Season 11, but they can be found in the abilities section, with cards like Bron Breaker, Psycho Sid, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Cody Rhodes, and more given special boosts not related to their arrows. The rarity doesn't matter either, whether it be metal or up to Legion, the cards will still have the same effects attached. Keep this in mind when looking to dust or train away certain feral or invasion cards in the future, as you might be sitting on a hidden gem. Having as many of these cards as possible will give you a better chance of winning, especially when it comes to the likes of Bron Breaker, specifically Nia Jax, Gunther, and more. Personally, my favorites are left and right arrows, because that's the secret to boom that many misunderstand. Things are supposed to go boom, because that's how you win. Next, we're going to deck setup and the area of effect slots. And it's crazy how many people play this mode, me included, at the beginning without altering their decks. Some didn't know they could even change the area of effects for each of your cards. And if you're one of those people, then this will change the mode entirely for you. Or maybe you need tips on how best to use your cards. Take the abilities I just mentioned and apply them to the right area of effect, and the difference will be noticeable immediately. With a handful of games, you could go from losing your streaks to winning every single match. If I pressed autofill, I know my most powerful cards would filter from top to bottom, and that would be cool if I wanted a nice boost thanks to my Battle Pass LA Knight, but nana, because boosting your deck helps no one if you lose. So you want to find the most powerful negative effect cards you have, whether they be a left or right arrow or Eddie and Psycho Sid, then apply them to the AoE slots that affect the most tiles on the board. I'd only personally use positives for the least effective AoEs possible, simply because they aren't worth it. No positive bonus gives you anything close to the power negatives give you. So I'd save them for the likes of these ones at the bottom, or maybe some of the diagonal, horizontal, or vertical straight AoEs. Now, this is all subject to change if they did decide to mix things up a little bit. But for now, check this Bron Breaker as an example. Despite being a feral card, he still gives a minus 369 hit to all cards. Now, if I place that in the big boom slot, as I call it, and this is the one that affects every card around you, despite the power difference between my Legion Bron Breaker, it still would do enough damage to take down most cards. He would be a better choice than someone like Triple H, who's in Legion tier and thousands of points more powerful. Kevin Owens, John Cena, even my LA Knight that I literally just grinded an entire day to get fully pro'd. There are certain cards in certain rarities that just hit different in this mode. So my advice is to slot those more explosive cards into the big boom, the diagonals and crosses, and the slots that cover the left or right of the board, and you'll see a huge difference. My deck is filled up with a bunch of Legion pros that I have grinded and of course packed over time, but I'm gonna go through my deck and grab some cards from Feral and Invasion rarity. I'm not hugely bothered whether my cards are particularly powerful as long as they're doing the damage. There is no worst AoE effect slot apart from this one that attacks from the back, which can be useful if you're pushing up really fast and they somehow get behind you, but that's quite rare. But any area of effect, depending on how it's used, is useful. Just don't align these ones with, say, your most powerful cards, as you want to play as aggressive as possible. So let's give these a try, and let me introduce you to my style of play, Seek and Destroy. Now, why do I call it Seek and Destroy? Because as you may have noticed in my first gameplay, I'm very aggressive with how I push forward. Now, this very rarely goes wrong, but sometimes you do get the odd problem, and it's important to note that yes, everyone's going to come up against those. It's how you react to those. And again, if you are in a lower rarity, you're going to come up against these difficulties around about stage 8 or 9 in the streak. But I'm going to charge ahead with my cross sign Eddie and see what happens next. Oh, he went for the big boom. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to chuck in Bron Breaker and take those 2 tiles above me. See, what he's done here is completely dropped himself in it, because all I have to do now is drop this Bron Breaker. I'm going to take out my own cards, but again, I don't care. My job is seek and destroy. I am taking out as much of the board as I can, and he is done. Again, I just need the points now, and I can easily do that by popping in Psycho Sid here, Kofi Kingston here, and immediately he surrenders. I accept the surrender. We move on to streak number 4. Now, this one we can try a different method or a different approach, and we're going to go for the right hand side this time, because I've got your Dragunov who can go straight to the left. And again, with the best cards you've got, you can be as aggressive as you want to be. It's very rare that this goes against you, and as you're about to see now, I have with me this Bron Breaker who again can do this massive charge forward, take out those reds, and now it's down to the AI as to where they go from here. Now, something I find more use in is to split the tiles you're affecting up. This way, it's going to take a big move for them to connect them again, and in which time you've completely isolated them from the rest of the cards they've got. And immediately they've surrendered. We've got both of those right-hand side and middle columns completely locked down. They cannot go any further, and we accept the surrender, and boom, or sorry, say boom. We're down to streak number 5. And you can see I'm not really using a huge amount of power here. And this is what most of you are going to experience regardless of what rarity you're in. So we're going to skip ahead to the latter stages to see how it looks when you get up to the tough parts, 9, 10, and 11. And here we are at the end of the streak, and this is the most difficult it's going to get. Now, I will not lie, RNG does make up a big portion, whether you're going to be able to win a match at all. Sometimes you will have to restart streaks simply because your luck is just that bad. This tactic is not a foregone conclusion that you're always going to win, but it will give you the best chance of doing it until you get your deck much higher than what it is right now. Oh, interesting. See, now you can see here. So I'll ask you guys, what's the play? The play, you see the big boom, you're gonna hit the big boom, and it's going to take out not just Sid Vicious, going to leave them with 1 piece. Now, it will naturally try to expand outwards from here, but we can start moving back, giving ourselves as much room as possible. And hopefully this should be all she wrote. Yep, you can see it right there, sticking 888 for the backwards, and there we go. Streak completed, 11 out of 11, victorious. And let's get our rewards, which is a guaranteed Legion card and potentially 1 extra one. Now, the rewards are different from day to day, but there it is. All the rewards are right in front of you, and I wish you the best. I hope this all works for you. If it doesn't, keep trying it. You will get it eventually. So what's inside? We've got 5 credits at the start. Is this 10 credits, I think? No, 100 super coins. We'll always accept super coins, especially with my push towards getting campaign done. I need as many as I can. I got Gabled. Get it enough on my streams, which we're over on twitch.tv/SuperZomGBBQ. Definitely go follow us over there on the app. And we got a Cora Jade. Next up, got a couple of invasion cards over here. Nice. And moving on up as we get to the Platinum Awards, a nice Zoe Stark for Feral. Another, I believe, Feral to Invasion card here. Got a couple of extras. Nice. Okay. Randy Orton for Feral tier. And here comes the potential Legions. Will we get 2 Legions or just the 1? Let's go. It is a Legion and an Invasion. Kofi Kingston the best. But this one is a guaranteed Legion. What's it gonna be? Ethan Page, which is a pro, and actually a very good one, because he's not just all ego, he's all in on charisma. And I don't really have a great charisma left arrow right now, so this is going to be very useful. So I'd count that as an absolute dub. If this guide went on to help you, make sure you do hit a thumbs up. It really helps me. And again, if you're a regular to the channel, just go and give it a like or a snap for me. That'd be great. And subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. But also comments down below. Let me know what your previous best streak and then what your best was after watching this video. I'd love to see it help people real time. But if you want to see other SuperCard gameplay, go to this video just up here where we got our Legion freebie amongst many others. It was a crazy video. Or this video here for the most recent on the channel. But until I see your beautiful faces again, have a good one. Bye bye.